draft.
go for this Kiana pick off.
T1 on red, dude, red side is so much more broken, especially like as Fearless progresses too, because counter picks become so much more valuable.
Is available, but also the LPL Kiana is a bit of a favorite here. I'm curious what they're going to prioritize more highly.
I'm surprised that they feel the need to first pick it because owners like
Kiana B1,
Kiana play. It's not been as successful.
especially when you never fucking flex it. Exactly. It feels a little bit bad.
The shift towards the Rise makes a lot more sense to me. Like, there are certain things that you're not allowed to do, and giving Faker Rise is one of them. He's got a music video or two of him portrayed as the champion. And so now with the Talia taken away as well, champions like Cassio and the Anivia do rise in priority as answers, but T1 don't have to prioritize that mid lane pick. Instead, they could look at things like the Corki to give them some agency towards the bot side of the map. Nico, another big support pick that also T1 is looking to eye up.
Yeah, I think they end up taking, probably as you're saying, the AD carry pick here and leaving owner for 3, just because if that Kiana comes through, you want to be able to go towards the Pantheon, unless they just consider the Pantheon strong enough to just immediately first pick, but I personally think it's not really in that position with the way the meta has shifted, so I imagine it'd just be something like the Corki, or at least a strong AD carry, and leaving that pick till later.
I mean, you talk about how the Pantheon was a good response into the Kiana, but overall at Worlds so far this year, Pantheon has not been a super successful pick. And it looks like for the side of T1, you want to say that Cream's Rise is a pick to be feared. I feel like Faker Galio is a pick that's got more.
B1 Rise. R1 Galio's response also opens up Rumble for later on in the series as a thing that it just makes it so Rumble has less options. I mean, there's still Mbessa. Galio can always be shifted top. I really don't like that when Rise gets blinded like this that we don't just immediately answer it with Anivia. But we also know that the Koreans and Chinese can't apparently play Anivia. They can't even fucking rune and itemize her correctly. And Mal's is also like really good against her. There's so many champions against Rise that are legitimately good, right? We did that one thing where we went over like 8 champions that you can pick against him, and just none of them get picked, and it just feels really bad. So, Smoge.
So Mbessa would have been perfect in this position. Top Esports, take it away.
Yeah, it does mean, though, you have an option to take something like the Renekton here for Doran on this next rotation and then match. It does mean jungle pool is probably going to be pinched quite substantially. More than likely, AD carry pool is another option to be pinched. So it's just a case of, for T1, what do they prioritize more highly? It looks like it will be the top lane, but it's Camille Galio coming in for T1.
Camille Galio. Let's see how well Doran's going to pilot this. They're doing a really hard engage comp. And I mean, now if you're TES and you see this, like, Poppy's already banned away, so it feels a little bit bad. But now you need to just go super defensive. This is when times like jungle Ornn and stuff, depending on what owner picks on R4. Because, I mean, I think that you can't expect that AD carry would come in on R4, right? But because I think the ADC wants to know what he's up against in order to pair with the Nico. Vi gets banned away. But anyways, yeah, so I think like things like this is where things like jungle Ornn become really good. Jungle Ornn, even jungle Shen, things like that, because you just have to keep Corki and Rise alive. Corki, Rise, and like even Mbessa. It's very difficult for the opponents to do something with Mbessa.
Do they consider it a threat? There's also the possibility of the Jarvan, another great engaged champion that Top Esports could consider looking to remove.
Exactly. Galio combo with Camille is pretty well known. Galio's combo with Jarvan is also very, very well known. But no, the Caitlyn going to be the ban.
Alistar, Kiana, both banned away. I think it's jungle here on R4. It might just be Nocturne, unironically. Oh, Jarvan.
No stress in the grand scheme of things. T1 gonna go back and forth between the two.
Oh my god, Pantheon.
Pantheon and J4. I like the Pantheon personally, but it does feel like that was their answer to the Kiana. So maybe I saw the Nocturne eyeing that up as well to just be like, we can play 4 sides and keep that Pantheon for another kind of pressure point in the draft as an answer to the Kiana.
All right, we're going to go for the Jarvan. There it is, locked in. Honestly, pretty impressive that Jarvan now sits at 10 and 10 in the tournament after starting off 0 and 8 early on back in the very first ages of Swiss. So now we'll see Does he go to a winning score after this one? As on the top esports side, we still need to see support. We still need to see jungle.
I have to imagine that you're either considering a Braum if you want something a little bit more defensive, but I think against Nico that is very difficult. Leona would provide them with a little bit more engage, and it's also something that we've seen Hong brought out a bunch of times. Now, the Nami was something we saw coming through from CFO here at this tournament, and Nami Corki is not a traditional lane, but it does give you a little bit of agency, some disengaged tools. But against a lot of dive, it's very squishy.
Yeah, I was actually expecting maybe a Renata.
Nami, when Nami ends up getting picked, okay, I really don't like the Kaisa. The Kaisa I think is so fake, but they're just trying to all in their engage. I think in a spot like this, I also think like Draven is really fucking nuts. I think Draven's really crazy. You could argue that like Draven's axes can be caught, like Mbessa can catch him because he has to catch the axe. I think like yeah, Draven in a spot like this is definitely like really nuts. What else could you actually go with Nico in this spot? I mean, Senna is also really good, and you could do fasting Senna. Yeah, you could do fasting Senna. And that would let Nico actually have like Rocket Belt, Shadow Flame, etc. Like her burst and everything would legitimately be really scary.
Dive is the name of the game for T1. If game 1 was slow and controlled,
wait, I have that card in rare. Wait,
and lethal
the hell? Anyways, I think that T1 do still have a superior draft, so.
Try and survive the backline to
Bell books, gentlemen.
into, given that you are running a more
Has superior draft. Yeah.
And that's the way you're going to look to try and chase down this bottom side of the map. If T1 are able to alleviate a lot of that pressure by having Jarvan,
yeah, I think T1 has superior draft in this game.
Which are already double burned on the bottom side. That's where that T1 can try and keep themselves safe.
The thing is that their comp always has relevancy in this game for doing the same exact pick, summonerless versus summoners on. And all that really matters is, do they have the threshold to get the instant execute? And because of the way itemization works, it increases as the game goes longer for T1 to be able to get the confirm execute, because Galio will continue to get stronger, Camille continues to get stronger. So the strongest point in the game, basically for TES, is like 20 minutes. That's when their champions are going to be the tankiest and most durable versus the engage of T1. And then after that, as like third, fourth items and, you know, extra stuff comes in, Atacon flowers, whatever, T1's burst gets much stronger.
Still hanging around for now. Kanavi, though, has secured his red buff.